Hey everybody, welcome back to the Chronicles of the Range Monkey. I am Neil. I am here with Natalie, the Range Monkey. Hey, you've probably been watching, maybe not, but we've been taking a MAG40 class here and we're doing a little bit of a breakdown. This is Natalie's first class and we're going to talk about it a little bit.
New Bold Targets is now Throom. I use Throom targets on the range for all the benefits of steel with none of the drawbacks. They're made in the USA too. Pick up a set to make your shooting more fun and effective.
All right, so Natalie, we've wrapped up 2 days, so we're halfway through the class right now, right?
Yeah.
So far we've been about half on the range, about half in the classroom. Now we've already done a couple of videos and broke down some of the shooting stuff, and we feel like we've learned some stuff and had some fun and some new tools in the toolbox to help some others. But I want to talk about what's the classroom portion like? This is a big class.
It is.
40 hours of training is more than most people get. Well, it's more than most lawyers get on self-defense.
Way more than most lawyers get,
right?
Apparently.
So yeah. So let's talk about it a little bit here. So you've been carrying for...
I've been carrying for a little over a year now, and I'm very comfortable carrying the gun. And if I had to use it, I would feel comfortable using it. But I have never known. Like I've always wanted to ask, what happens after you use self-defense, after you use your firearm to keep you or your loved ones safe, because it's gonna be followed by a court.
Right.
You're gonna go to court over it. So, you need to know what's gonna happen there. And so Masad is he's just been talking through exactly what happens after that and how you need to articulate yourself so that you can give yourself a proper defense.
So I think we've already talked about this in one of the videos, but what does CYA stand for?
Can you articulate? Yeah. Or can you authenticate, which is equally important?
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so, another thing that he talks about a whole lot is know where the attack is coming from and have a plan to address it. Now that works on both sides of the shooting. There's the whole book Left of Bang talks about being ready for it before any of that kind of stuff happens. But we carry a gun, we do this training, all that. In case the worst day of our life happens, we can at least do our best to defend ourselves, right?
Right.
We'll give ourselves at least a leg up, we hope, right? I'm not looking to get into any kind of fights. That's not the thing. And in fact, there's some research out there that says the average CCW person in America is a little bit easier to get along with than everybody else.
Yeah. We're reasonable.
Statistically speaking, we're the safest demographic in the country.
We're
safer than police officers. Did you know that?
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, so less crime, which is weird. But anyway, well, somebody in the comments will fix me on this. But I've read that before, and I'm not going to give you. I'm not going to give you a link because I don't know where it is.
Don't be mean to my dad in the comments.
But so a few of the things that we talked about today were the reasonable man stuff. So what did you get out of that?
That's a lot of.
It is.
That's like 9 of the hours.
So we're not trying to give away Masada's class. This isn't what it's about. But you learned some stuff today. There's a couple of quotes and that kind of thing, and some things that really give you the idea. But I mean, if if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and have a shooting, and that's a big if, because that's not going to happen to most people. It's a small % chance of it. But if it does, and you have to defend yourself, there's a chance that you're going to end up in court.
Yeah.
And there's a chance that there's going to be a prosecutor that's running for office that decides they're, on the other side of this whole thing politically. They've got, they're trying to get back into office. They need to make an example, blah, whatever the reason may be. And so you have to go in and defend yourself, and you have to be able to articulate why you did what you did, right?
Yeah.
The reasonable man stuff talks a lot about what would a reasonable man do, a reasonable, prudent, sane, sober, moral person do in the exact same situation, knowing what you know.
Yeah.
And that is a big, right? Because you're like, well, anybody would do this. But, it's not going to be a jury of your peers, is it?
No.
Was that interesting when you talked through that kind of stuff?
That was interesting. I didn't really think about that. With how little educated I was 72 hours ago on this, if I was on that jury and I was like, and I heard, oh, this police officer walked up and shoved a gun down this boy's throat and shot him, I would be like, okay. Like, all right, let's hear some more details. But I mean, so many people are just like, all right, guilty. And that's, they make that snap decision, and it is really hard to get them to reverse that snap decision. So what you have to do is learn how to educate the jury, and just tell them what you did and why you did it, and be able to articulate that in a way that makes sense to them and that they can relate to, because if you shoot a guy that is on your 5-year-old daughter, you needed to shoot him. You had grounds to shoot him, but the jury might not see it that way, and you have to be able to articulate what was going through your head and exactly what was happening, and make sure it is authenticated, so that you don't end up in jail over it, because it's a very slippery slope.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit about, you talked about somebody on your daughter or your kid or whatever, but do you remember what he talked about? The kind of the keys that need to be in place so that you can use self-defense. Do you remember?
Yeah, he talked about the acronym AOJ, and you have means to shoot him. If I'm understanding it correctly, I haven't taken the test yet, so
or
back me up.
Self-defense. It's not all about shooting. I mean, maybe it's a pepper spray thing. Maybe
That's
it's
true.
Ideally we have, you win every fight you don't get into. Right. Mm-hmm. And so some of this is worst case scenario kind of stuff that once you're in the fight, you got to go. But the AOJ kind of thing is really kind of a litmus test of, hey, this is where I need to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it stands for ability. They have to have the ability to hurt you. Mm-hmm. Opportunity. They have to have the opportunity. So they have to be near you, and jeopardy. It has to be happening right now. You have to be in jeopardy, they have to be attacking you. If all those lights are green, you should be able to use self-defense.
Right. Yeah.
And
they all have to be green right now. Right. That's the key, and I think that's the thing that he talked about. The uncle that gives everybody their self-defense advice that shoot him and drag him in the house. The whatever, all the bad advice on the planet. And if you kind of follow the guideline of the AOJ, and there's some other terms and acronyms, and you're going to learn those as you progress through this stuff, and we're not going to get into any of that on this video. But if you can progress through that and you get those 3 green lights, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And the ability really talks to the effect, or to the point that this person has the ability to harm you, to do great bodily harm or death. Mm-hmm. Right? To cripple you, to break bones, those kind of things. That's the thing, So if some 75-year-old grandmother waddles up with her walker and starts shaking her finger in your face that she's going to hurt you, okay, she doesn't have the ability, right? Now that depends. Maybe she's got a gun. I don't know. But you've got to make those decisions. And these are decisions you have to make that fast, and then the jury gets weeks to decide if you made the right decision. And that's the hard part of self-defense, right?
Yeah.
The opportunity is that they have to be there to have the opportunity. So, if somebody is holding a machete and says, I'm going to kill you, they've probably got the ability.
Yep.
But if they're 200 yards away and they're screaming that, they don't really have the opportunity. You got a lot of options. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to close the gap on you, but you've got the option of running away. You've got the option of getting between some obstacles. You got the option of getting into your car and running away. You can dial 911 and hope the cops get there. And there's other options rather than pull your gun and try to make a 200-yard shot.
Yeah,
because that would be silly. So you've got to think through that kind of stuff. And then the jeopardy is it's got to be going right now. It's got to be, this is happening. It's imminent and it's going to happen right now. Not, I'm going to bring my gun to work tomorrow and shoot you. There's a whole problem there. That's not the, right. So there needs to be some phone calls need to be made, right? And we need to be careful about other things. But if somebody threatens that says, I'm going to kill you, if they don't have the ability and they don't have the opportunity, you're not in immediate jeopardy.
Exactly.
And so you can't say, well, he said he was going to kill me, so I shot him. Well, that's that. Now you've crossed the line.
Yeah.
And so, that's the thing about carrying a gun. And we've talked about this at home before. I mean, this is a real it's a real big responsibility, isn't
Yeah.
it? And the more you're getting into this, and I can see it as you're writing these notes, you're like, oh, and there's been learning has occurred so much with Natalie. It's been really fun to watch you go through this class, and it's been really fun to see you progress through this. You've had some good questions along the way. You've had some great support from the folks in the class. It's she's just a celebrity in this class. Everybody wants to see the range monkey. I'm just a fat old nobody. Sucks, but but we're having fun, right?
We're having a lot of fun.
Man, I tell you, if you get the opportunity to go to any class, and I don't care if it's underwater basket weaving, go with your kids. Go somewhere and do this kind of stuff. We're getting to eat out and hang out. You know, people that know us know that our life is a little hectic at home sometimes, and so we don't get to have that quality time. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun to let you do this thing. This isn't dad dragging. Don't drag your kid to a gun class if they don't like guns. That'd be silly, right? Introduce them. Let if they like art, then go paint pictures with your kids. You know, I mean, do what they want to do. I am very blessed that Natalie loves to do this. And actually, you've got some sisters that like to do this too. She's just the one that gets to be on camera.
The youngest. I'm here while mom and dad are famous, and that's why I'm on camera. Also, my fellow 19-year-olds and just other kids that have dads that go do stuff like this, go hang out with them because they do know a lot and they can teach you a lot. And they just turn into completely different people when they're around their own people. When you're with your other gun guys, you turn into a gun guy, and I get to see fun dad. I think quite a bit, yeah.
Hold on. Oh man, we don't have to share this with the world, but I guess we're gonna. What does gun dad do?
Fun dad.
Oh, fun dad.
Fun
dad.
Yeah.
Fun dad. Mm-hmm. All right.
Out on the range.
It is fun. I feel like that is kind of where I enjoy my time. It's something that I'm okay at. I'm above average at shooting and that kind of stuff. And I really, what I've really enjoyed about this class with the shooting side of it is, as a student, when we go and we teach, we're constantly, critiquing this and change that, and hey, maybe try this and all of that. As a student, I get to sit back and watch other people do that. And so one of the instructors that's here helping is a lady named Tracy, and Tracy is a great shooter and a pretty good coach, right? And so it's been fun to watch her talk to some other folks. And then a couple of times during the break, I'm like, okay, hey, Tracy, you got to show me what was that thing you were doing with the grip. And so then I get to put more stuff in my toolbox too. Yeah. And so it's really fun to do that. It's really fun to kind of be at home with that. The one thing that has been really great about this, among everything else that's been great, is safety is absolutely priority one. Now, Moss runs a cold range, which is a little different than the ranges that we run. When we go train a class, we run a hot range, and there's a little bit of a difference there in that guns are in holsters, loaded and ready to go all the time. With this class, it's a cold range, so you don't load your gun until you're told. You get up to the line, you do your whatever drill that you're going to do, and then you unload and show clear after every one of those. I think that adds a layer of safety if you've got some newer folks in there. It's a layer of safety no matter who's there. There's pluses and minuses to it, and I'm not going to get into it. Moss runs his class this way, and I have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. But back to the safety thing of it, it has been 100% focus on safety, right? And so the range commands are kind of cool to see other people's range commands. And then the other side of it is there is a little bit of professional courtesy there, because apparently we're somebody, right? We got this YouTube channel, so people are like, oh, they're gonna whatever. We're nobodies, right? We're average people that like to shoot, and we train a little bit. But it's been very fun to see there's a level of respect for everybody, but then there's kind of that professional courtesy side of it, where it's like, oh, hey, Neil's been a range master, so hey, Neil, you can answer this question, and so that's kind of fun. And it, I don't need to be the center of attention. I don't need. That's not who I am. But it is fun to at least have some expertise in there and have people recognize that. So it's been really fun to have somebody like Masad Ayub or Tracy or Amanda Suffolcool from Eye on the Target Radio's here, Paul Lathrop from Polite Society Podcast, Charlie's here from Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
There's a dog.
but to have these people that are in circles that we run in, and they're a little bit more on the political side. We're a lot more on the self-defense side of it, and the skill side of it, where they're on the law side of it. And so while we run in the same circles, we don't always show up at the same classes. So it's been really fun. But what is awesome is when those people come up and they're like, "Holy cow, Natalie can shoot! Natalie's awesome at this, and Natalie this, and Natalie that." And that has been really fun. As a dad, that makes me so proud. So I'm really proud of you, girl.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.